Moderating tonight will be the owner of AMillienConcepts and the brain by which the Uncovered series was created. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together, stand up if you will, put your glasses in the air, and welcome the amazing Patrice Millien.
I wasn't expecting all that gas up, but thank you very much. Welcome everyone to Uncovered Beyond the Talent. We have a really fantastic show for you all, and I hope you all take the lessons that are protruding from tonight's discussion and help that to propel your careers and your interests in the best direction that you will need to be a part of. So let's welcome to the stage our first featured speaker. Her name is Melissa Jiménez. Give her a hearty round of applause for being here tonight. Any of y'all familiar here with Melissa? Show of hands. Yes, a lot of y'all know her. She wears many hats. But for tonight, she's going to be here speaking to us under the umbrella of her company, which is Artzy Bitz. And she's also the general manager of Music TT. We have a lot to discuss and unfold tonight. You are versed in your field. Give me an insight about what Artzy Bitz is.
So Artzy Bitz is an arts administration, arts management suite company. Let me clarify that. So immediately when people hear arts administration, arts management, they immediately think that you're managing artists. You're not managing artists. That's not what it is. Arts administration and arts management deals with the management of arts organizations, or creative projects, and the administering of it.
At what point did you start it?
I started in January 2015 before I left to go to Chicago. Yeah.
How were you able to function a business while you were away? That's an interesting.
So it didn't kick off like January to July was the exploration, building up, writing down who has my network and, who do they know kind of thing. That was the build-up phase. I didn't start until August, actually, right before I left, with Bevica. I think they're now called Rush in the East. And that actually kicked off with Kern Somerville. I know he's somewhere here. We did a show with Kern Somerville first, and then after that we did a show with J-Wave, Jesse McBarrow. And then right after Jesse's show, I left. So I already targeted in my head who were the artists that I wanted to be featured on that platform.
Right.
So I just reached out to them remotely, asked them if they were interested, and if not, just move on to the next person on the list. And then, I just coordinated WhatsApp, video calls, you name it.
So tell me, when you do something like that, how easy is it to garner a team around you to cater for things like that, especially if you're not physically here to cater?
For a project of that magnitude, I only needed 1 or 2 persons, so I didn't really need to consider a large team, but at the same time, I would have wanted to build up that network of teams before, right? So I already had those persons in place. So while I wasn't here in the loo, I'm like, okay, Jindai, you do so-and-so, or Judah, you do so-and-so. And of course, they were paid, they were hired to go and do it on my behalf. So
one of the interesting reasons we asked Melissa to be here is because she multitasks. She does a lot of different things. And so for the creative mind who you're passionate about the creative field, but you're also an organizer. You're not the front talent, you're the behind the scenes talent.
Yeah.
We thought this is good insight for you guys together. There are existing fields that you can look into that you can actually perfect and become a master of your craft in. And arts management is one of them.
Correct.
How would you say that whole experience has been for you thus far in terms of setting up the business and letting it unfold and letting people know about it? Was that challenging for you?
So I actually didn't do any real marketing of Artzy Bitz. Purposefully, because as you said, I have my hand in a lot of different pots. And I've learned quite some time now not to spread myself too thin, which is something I think a lot of people need to learn in the creative industry itself.
Did you set goals? Were there things that came to mind when you said, okay, I'm going to start a business. This is how I want this to unfold within a year. Did you have conversations about that?
I did, but as I said, I wasn't here when I started it. So it was very much in a dormant stage. I just used to do what I can remotely. And then if it was like written projects, because I used to do marketing plans and proposal writing and all of that for creative organizations as well, especially non-for-profit creative organizations, which was my base. I didn't start off charging everybody and all of that. It was just, okay, I need to network. I need to make as many connections as I can. Some were charged, others, especially the NGOs, were like, all right, let me do this, let me help you, and work from there. So I only actually kicked off the business when I came back home.
Right.
Yeah.
And you brought up an interesting point there, which is something that a lot of creators have questioned about charging. How do you price your service? How do you place a value on your service? So for you, what was your system? What was your method?
Okay, so because I do a lot of consultancy work in a project management capacity, project manager capacity, I had no idea how to charge for my services. Like, I was like, arbitrary figures here, arbitrary figures there. If I do events, I know, okay, I need to cover my costs, plus this is what I would like to make, and sort of move from there. But eventually, I have a friend who is an HR consultant, and I went and I spoke to her, and I'm like, hear this now. Me, I know how to charge for this consultancy thing, you know. So you need to help me out here. So her question to me was, okay, how much do you want to make in a month? I say, okay, I want to make X, Y, and Z. No, I'm not giving already figure. I want to say I want
It's all about what you value yourself.
I say I want to make X, Y, and Z. She say, okay, let's work back from there. How many hours do you want to work a week? Okay, so then based on that, it was like, okay, this is what you need to be charging for your services.
Right.
So I said, okay, lovely. Then I tell the Lord, I said, Lord, hear this now. I want to make X, Y, and Z dollars a month. I say, they tell me I come back home to Trinidad and I'm crazy for doing that. I say, but you need to help me prove these people wrong.
Right.
I say, so this is my target. This is what I want to make. So job just start rolling in, like literally within a month or two of coming back home. And I mean, it's major jobs that I got with very prominent persons. So I say, okay, I say, Lord, I say, we right at the target. I say, I ain't reached the target yet. And within the next month after that, I was at my target. I have contracts for 3 years plus now, you know, with persons that I don't have to worry about meeting my monthly targets that I wanted to with Artzy.
Right, so it's all about setting a goal, setting a vision for yourself and working towards that.
Vision, that is it.
Vision. She told me when we had a pre-conversation to this that her life is a walking vision board, that she envisions what she wants to do, and she goes after it, and it all just falls into place. And I think that's something as creatives we all really need to pay attention to, you know, focus our energies on doing. You might be passionate, yes, but don't just do it arbitrarily. Have a goal, set things for yourself that you want to do, and go forward with accomplishing it. So the other thing I wanted to ask as well is in relation to your music TT hats. We all know that we have the teacups, every system, every industry, every element of it. But what would you say are some of the challenges that you've seen needing to be addressed as part of music TT, especially as it relates to the creative marketplace and the value that is placed on that?
You know, I'm going to drop the first word, funding. But be it that as it may, that is what it is. I can't change that. I can't do anything about that. I was actually having this conversation today and yesterday in that I think people need to collaborate more.
Yes.
Now, everybody talks collaboration. Everybody say, yeah, we need to find out what this one doing, that one doing. But everybody goes with an open ear and nobody wants to say anything, which is a problem.
Yes.
And that is, I've been working in the NGO sector prior to creative sector for a number of years, and it's the same thing. You have funders saying, okay, we're willing to fund X, Y, and Z project. Then you have 20 different NGOs coming with the same ideas, doing the same thing, might be 1 or 2 things different, and the funders are saying, well, we're not willing to fund all of you all. Why don't you all come together? So I think that is part of it. Everybody's operating in their little silos and nobody is talking to each other to find out what is being done. And then the next problem for us, or challenge I should say for us, is the mindset the cultural mindset when it comes to music business.
Right.
Like, people don't think business. The first thing I do when I talk to artists is like, you need to see yourself as a company. You are a company. You are a brand, and you need to treat it as such. If you don't do that, then you're always going to end up hitting that brick wall, and you're not going to go forward from there.
Yes.
So you need to understand that even though everybody wants a manager now. That's a new fad. Everybody wants a manager. And we don't really have managers per se. We have a lot of booking agents.
Yes, we do.
They just don't
I'm
want to
sure
call
a lot of you
themselves that.
how many artists do we have in the audience here? By round of applause. Would you say it's a struggle for you guys to find a solid manager or somebody to actually take care of your needs entirely? That's something that you'll struggle with? I think it's a space that definitely needs management and needs developing for sure. Managers are very essential parts of who we are as brands, and I think that's something that we want to work towards making sure gets more established in Trinidad and Tobago for sure. Final notes, we just want to find out from you, what would you say 3 top pieces of advice you would give to a creative or to an artist when it comes to doing things like establishing their career?
I think on the entrepreneurial startup side, as I mentioned, you are a company. So if this is what you want to do, be sure that this is what you want to do.
Yes.
Like, love it, eat it, breathe, sleep, everything that needs to be your fiber and being. That needs to be what drags you out of the bed in the morning. First and foremost, because that entrepreneurial life, even though artists don't see themselves as entrepreneurs, that is what you are.
You are your brand, yes.
That entrepreneur life is not easy. It is not easy in any way, shape, or form, especially if it is you're not doing an 8 to 4 and trying to supplement that cost,
yes,
right?
You have to make it work. And so the second one you would say is, because when we were talking, you also mentioned meeting, like having mentors and meeting persons who are experienced in the field to guide you as well.
Right.
How important would you say that is?
On that note, I would say be a lifelong learner. Mm-hmm. So I consider myself a lifelong learner, and I can tell you, I've spoken to Uncle Carl, I've spoken to Nigel Campbell, Mr. Murray, like number of people who I know are way older than me. They've been in the industry, have the experience under their belt. You need to be humble enough to go and have a conversation and say, here, what, I don't know this,
yes,
edify me, teach me, I want to learn. Not the diva-divo status, that don't work. So,
very true. So, guys, let's give Melissa a hearty round of applause for coming here and sharing some of her knowledge with us tonight. She is going to be here for the entire night to talk to you guys. If there's anybody who has any further questions, there's a mingling session that's going to come up. One more round of applause. Thank you, Melissa, for joining us tonight.
Thank you for having me.
About 5 years ago, I can't believe so much time passed since. It's called the Uncovered series. I personally wanted to do this video to highlight step by step the process that is involved in creating a project like Uncovered and the different facets that we've explored over the years. There is so much work that goes into it months prior.